Is anyone here a doctor?
Do you know CPR? We gotta get him to a hospital quick! There's so much blood on my head!
You're gonna be okay. You're gonna pull through. I'm sorry, ma'am. There's nothing we could do.
Live from hell, I'm Leo Roboto. Welcome along to another fabulous Technicolor episode of The Struggle. On the program tonight, the return of our city's greatest shame. Old man found in forest, and another brain-eating virus hits the Sunshine State. But first, this Wednesday begins News Corp Australia's annual Bush Summit. The series of Merkin-clad events is set to take place across the country. News Corp reports that the summit is to celebrate and advocate for regional Australia, focusing on the divide between metropolitan and regional areas, which, sounds pretty good on paper. But it did make us wonder about ghouls. And more importantly, why is News Corp running this, and why now? In 2020, News Limited shut down or reduced circulation of more than 100 regional and community newspapers. And as happy as I was to see the Gympie Times close after their years of vicious personal attacks on myself, the axing of regional mastheads like Coffs Harbour Advocate and the Melbourne Star must surely have silenced more regional voices than one summit could possibly hear from, however bushy that summit may be. One regional voice that is sure to be heard, though, is the low nasal drone of Australia's stepmum, Gina Reinhardt, who in addition to bankrolling the event is set to give a keynote address in Broome titled 2020 Vision, or Vision Blurred by Ideology. Now, maybe I'm just a cynical old worm, and I am, but I wonder if an advocacy conference run by Australia's most visible mining magnate really is the forum of homespun country truth-telling is purported to be. I mean, that logo's not exactly helping prove me wrong. Well, the logo or the Trojan horse filled with lobbyists parked outside Toowoomba. Dark money disco or not, since its inception in 2019, the summit has claimed credit for securing more than $38 million in drought resilience, $50 million in tourism funding, and $92 million for regional mental health services. Anyway, the Bush Summit festivities are set to be heralded by an editorial campaign across all remaining Murdoch mastheads. So if you don't fancy a couple of weeks reading about why 30% of the population deserves 100% of your attention, stick to TV news this week. TV news are like this. Canberra, the impenetrable dam of deception protecting our nation's national security and sovereignty has been breached. In early August, the spooks at the AFP announced they had apprehended and charged a Chinese national with reckless foreign interference. Now, we all know the first rule of espionage is don't get caught. The second, of course, being don't talk about Fight Club, but clearly this ancient edict wasn't properly communicated to the unnamed perpetrator. The preceding report was put together in a collaboration between ourselves and the ambiguous multinational Asian university's current affairs program, The Great and Glorious Struggle of the People. Take a look.
Tonight, a high-profile foreign interference case. A Chinese national is charged with spying on the Canberra branch of the Guanyin Siddha Buddhist group, a fringe religious group that the Chinese government would label a cult. Authorities allege that she's gathered intelligence at these meetings and sent it to China's Public Security Bureau. She now faces up to 15 years in prison. To bring some clarity to the situation, I have the insider here with me. And tonight, she's been allowed to appear on camera. Enlighten us, please.
该邪教组织认为前澳大利亚总理陆克文前世是华人，其头目卢军红自称是观音菩萨的转世，能够治病预知未来。
The group is focused on personal wellness and mindfulness, nothing unusual.
Right. And what about their teachings?
该组织背弃佛教传统，举办大型所谓神迹，如是瘫痪人士复健等邪教仪式。自其头目卢军红于2021年去世以来，该犯罪组织领导尚且不明。
Standard spiritual gatherings, like any meditation group, really.
All right. Well, why target this group then?
该邪教组织欺诈中国公民于海外侨胞，诓骗了超500万澳元的财产。
The government just wants to keep their communities safe. But safe from what? At Guanyin Zeta, we don't pressure or manipulate people into donating millions and millions of dollars. They just do.
Okay. There have been reports that this group can heal diseases through ritual and view some Western politicians as reincarnated souls connected to their beliefs. Can you confirm this?
这个组织荒谬地称月亮是他们信仰能量的核心。他们相信世界领导人的灵魂在不同的转世轮回中引领着世界历史。
It's just poetic symbolism, like poetry. Nothing to be taken literally. So not serious, you know?
Well, okay then, we'll just cut it there. Thank you both for that informative information.
What a beautiful cross-cultural dialogue that was. It's time now that we discuss something altogether less beautiful. I'm talking, of course, about evil wizards. Now, it wouldn't come as a surprise to anyone who's been in the CBD over the last month or so, but the ancient warlock Barentatok has been ruthlessly terrorising Burke Street commuters without recourse. We sent Amy, our most magical correspondent, to try and get an interview with Barentatok, but regrettably, he used his cosmic rays to banish her to the Shadow Realm. So here for you now is Amy Caruso reporting from the Docklands.
Melbourne Star. I remember when you worked. Once upon a time.
What? Not again!
Melbourne Star, or Southern Star as it was once known, is set to reopen in 2026 after an $11 million investment deal between Melbourne-based Skyline Attractions and Swiss and American amusement companies Robu Group and Ray Kamak Shows. Lord Mayor Nick Rees, in a press conference last week, described this new beginning as a
really good day for Melbourne. This is the wheel deal.
This, however, has come as a real shock to us here at The Struggle, as Melbourne Star was something long forgotten, sitting in the industrial wasteland some people call Docklands.
It was a somewhat pleasure to ride the biggest waste of space since Cow Up a Tree.
before heat caused it to buckle and crack in 2009, broke down and left over 100 people stranded on board in 2018, and finally stopped spinning in 2021 after COVID lockdowns and restrictions forced MB Star Properties to close it down indefinitely.
The business head honchos expect 250,000 visitors to come here during its first year of renewed operations,
offering really great experiences, including pre-football packages, drink experiences, family-friendly carriages, and historic Melbourne tours. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done before depressed office workers can visit the Star, including lights, Wi-Fi installation, new cabins, and rehabilitating 4 of the 32 motors. We went in search of locals to ask what the impact of the Star's resurrection would have on Docklands. But there was no one around. So we went home.
And you too can buy an Amy Caruso Welcome Home shirt from the Struggle's official merch website. And while you're there, why not follow the links to donate to my own personal fortune? We understand that many Australians are lacking the levels of disposable income right now that might allow someone to patronise a gloriously beautiful news anchor. But we encourage you to, nonetheless. Besides, if you're really so strapped for cash you can't spare a measly pineapple for a shrew like me, ask yourself, am I really doing all I can to save money? Because unless you're the subject of our next segment, your answer is almost certainly an emphatic, nah, probably not. Economics correspondent Krithy crunches the numbers in an all-new segment, ROI.
Welcome to Ridiculously Obvious Insights. We'll cut through the fluff and help you make smarter decisions without needing a finance degree. Today's investment options ute, unicorn or horse? First, a ute can cost you anywhere from $35,000 to $80,000 upfront, and over 5 years, that's more than $30,000 in fuel, or as I like to call it, the price of a small unicorn. Unicorn market value? Undetermined, but we're estimating anywhere between 2 million and you must defeat a dragon first. Also, low after purchase payment apart from glitter. Win. And finally, the horse. A Victorian man claims his horse commute saves him $180 a week on fuel, 60% of the value of a second-hand ute, or approximately 0.000004 unicorns. Feed costs are modest, but depreciation is practically zero. However, legally it's still a vehicle. That means riding home tipsy could see you down $1,400 in fines and enjoying up to 6 months of government-provided boarding. The ute is your blue-chip utility stock, the unicorn is a high-risk, no-liquidity mythical asset, and the horse, a steady out-powered dividend payer. Just don't try to claim it on your tax return after happy hour. That's all from me. For more such financial advice, keep an eye out for ridiculously obvious insights.
Now, after a story like that, it's important to take a moment to mention the dangers of saddle sores. What may seem at first to be simple pinkish welts have the power to grow and grow, taking over your life. First you're spending an extra 5 minutes to get out of bed in the morning, and then before you know it, bam! You're remortgaging the family home to buy a set of prosthetic thighs. It'll happen to you! For now though, while I consult my equine dermatologist, you enjoy these ads. Yes. Well, welcome back to The Struggle. Now, in December of last year, a heartbreaking story emerged as the Launceston City Council announced that the famous Launceston Botanic Garden monkeys were to be sterilised after persistent inbreeding. What sounded to me like a death note for the greyhound racing industry turned out to be not that. Apparently the dogs just run on their own, who knew? Anyway, the state of play regarding greyhound racing in Tasmania is once again teetering on a knife edge as the race-to-form state government hinges on the long wet snouts of racing dogs. Take a look.
Greyhound racing. Horse racing for the lazy jockeys who gave up pretending that sitting on a soon-to-be glue bottle is a sport and just hit the pokies early instead. After a state election quietly reminded the Tasmanian government that the money they spend on dogs is growing at a quicker rate than education, 5.6% compared to 4.1%.
The incoming minority Liberal government plans to introduce legislation that will phase out greyhound racing to coincide with the expiration of the funding deal in 2029. This follows bans in New Zealand, the ACT, and briefly in New South Wales.
We're here today with a former racing greyhound. How do you feel about Tasmania's decision?
What will you tell the Tasmanian punters when they can no longer watch your sorts break their legs?
Legs? What if they had no legs?
Are you positive that this is a good idea?
By surgically altering our once trusty greyhound, we found a foolproof solution to avoid those animal rights activists. She can't break her legs if she has none.
And our little old pooch had so much leg that we were able to create 2 sausage dogs for the price of 1. The future of greyhound sausage dog racing has been saved. How do you feel now that your surgery's been a success?
Back to you in the studio. Hot dog!
Thank you both. And we'll do our best to stay abridged of this long, low story as it wobbles through the Tasmanian parliamentary chambers. Now, while we're on the topic of the Apple Isle, has anyone seen that SBS show Alone? The first Australian season of the groundbreaking reality show drew throngs of applicants eager to pit their survivalist skills against the wrath of the Tasmanian bush. One Taswegian crim, however, has seemingly taken his rejection from the show to heart, as our correspondent Yasmin explains. Oh, Yasmin?
Thanks, Leo. Bringing you the latest from the Tasmanian wilds, where for 7 years the bush was home to 60-year-old Shane Paul Arnold, who helped steal 7 firearms from a Launceston home in 2016.
Mr. Arnold, tell us about your experience living in the bush.
Best thing I've ever done, I reckon. If I weren't from a bloody joint, so I'd still be living the high life out here. You know, your generation's so soft. You should try doing the same as me and connecting with the beautiful Tassie bush for once.
Thanks for your input, Mr. Arnold. Now, going back to your crimes, where CCTV footage caught your every move, can you run us through that day and why you decided to steal $17,000 worth of firearms?
I was with some mates. We decided to break in. I was originally the getaway driver, so I actually only helped steal 3 guns and the $5, but it was sitting on the counter.
Well, you mentioned coming back because the outdoors wasn't so great for your arthritis anymore. Now, tell us, how is life back in the great indoors?
Well, I've had to get used to using my stove again. For the first few days, I was just lighting fires in my house to cook, but the smoke alarm got too annoying. I'll tell you what, it's ridiculous that I even had to come back. When the NDIS doesn't support older Australians like me to live in the bush in peace, you know there's something wrong with this country. Courts even stopped me from having a beer to get through it.
The court acknowledged Mr. Arnold's return back to society by sentencing him to 18 months in home detention. So while his hideout may have been in the bush, he won't be spending much time here anymore. Back to you, Leo.
Wow. Thank you, Yasmin. You know, it's usually common courtesy to let the host know when you're going to be interviewing their disgraced Uncle Shane on local TV. No one in the family's even spoken to him since he punched Uncle Steve at Peter and Sarah's wedding. No one except Grandma anyway, and no one's seen her since she moved to Japan for some mysterious business opportunity. Well, oversharing of family drama aside, we have to talk about our global family, because Auntie China's kids, they're not doing too well right now. Rather than calling or texting or even consulting the Monash School of International Relations and the occult, we sent Eleanor and a camera crew to the best sidekick we could find. And they're the best sidekick we could afford. See for yourself.
So, darling, what brings you here today?
So my parents won't stop nagging me to find a job, and I have been applying everywhere for months. No one is responding. I need to know when I will finally get one.
Oh, I see. But trust me, you are not alone. Young employment is hitting 50% in China right now, and that means that your parents have 1 in 6 chance to yelling at you.
What should I do then?
Don't worry, darling. Just let the card reverse your future. This card said that a new joint is coming. And in your case, this new joint is to paying a company to let you have a job.
What?
In China, company rent our office desk so you can sit there, look busy, and tell your president that you are employed.
I mean, that's sad, but also brilliant.
Exactly. So congratulations, you have a job now. Problem solved.
I still have my cat at home, and my mom hates the fat useless creature. If I'm at my fake job all day, who is going to feed him and take care of his poop?
Good question. A really good question. I think that you need $60. Oh, I mean someone like a grandma.
How? My grandma is dead.
Oh, darling. Then just rent one. In Japan, you can rent a grandma for $60. She will cook for you, listen to the problem, telling you to wear a jacket. Basically, it's all of the domestic love and knocking you need.
That actually might work. Thank you so much. Okay, so here's the money. Wait, if I pay you for the tarot reading, how can I afford both the fake job and the fake grandma?
Oh, darling, tarot to tell the future. No refund.
With thanks to our friends at Swine Brothers Psychics Tarot and Screen Repairs for allowing our camera crew access to their facilities. Although I can't personally vouch for their services. No. Anyway, roll some ads.
Hi there. We are here to tell you that your waste could be another man's treasure. That's right. We are doing what big fertilizers are scared to do. we are turning human poop into plant food. We can turn your poop into fertilizer. Yeah, that's right. This process will make sure that we retain the important nutrients for crop growth like phosphorus and even remove carbon from the atmosphere. So why flush gold down the toilet when your tomatoes are starving? Yeah, you can help us save the world. You just have to do these 3 simple steps. Step 1, don't flush. Step 2, give us a call and we'll dispatch one of our trusted Cornell University grad students to collect it. Our services will ensure that the poop is 100% human sourced, no animal testing, plus it's sustainable and some version of table to farm. Step 3, bask in the glory of a reduced water bill, knowing you just made the world a better place. We call it the closed loop poop. The future is brown and beautiful. That's right. Oh, we got a fresh one.
Hey, what are you doing?
Welcome back. Now, we've long been told that humans are approximately 60% water. So, in an effort to appeal to the 60% of our audience, our long-retired liquid current affairs segment has been pulled from the shelf and dusted off for your light news entertainment viewing pleasure. Let's just hope the other 40% of you don't touch that remote.
Welcome to the Water Report. I'm your host, Splasher Keddy. On tonight's edition, a fish kill killing tourism, water that bites back, and a leak in the creek. I'm joined at the desk now by self-proclaimed waterologist Toby. What can you tell us about everything that's going on here?
Well, I'm actually very glad you asked, Splasher. I'd love to demonstrate if I could.
Of course.
I have with me tonight some tastings from most of the different tourism boards of Australia. As you can see here, we have South Australia, Queensland and South East Australia.
Now, Toby, recently a survey of tourism-based businesses in South Australia found that negative perceptions of the algal bloom had led to a downturn in business.
Yes, that's what this first sample is here to disprove. As you can see, there is nothing to be afraid of.
Right, we might just brush past that one.
Well, then next we have a complex sample of brain-eating amoeba from southwest Queensland.
From Queensland, wouldn't the stuff have starved to death?
You'd think so. The good news is residents won't die of thirst. It's perfectly safe to drink. I mean, just get a whiff of that stuff.
Whoops, little bit up the nose, that's embarrassing.
Queensland Health, collaborators on this fine mix, have advised you aren't going to get your brain eaten unless water gets up your nose while bathing or showering or putting your head underwater in a swimming pool or nasal irrigation.
Sorry, up the nose.
You'll be fine. Probably. And finally, a rare delicacy from the Murray-Darling River. This 2018 vintage was highly sought after in its time. Even now, irrigators have launched a class action lawsuit against the Murray-Darling Basin Authority for this stuff.
And how does it go down?
Oh, like a lovely glass of water.
No, I mean the court case.
Oh, yeah, and I've still got like 7 weeks to go. The water, on the other hand, has wonderful notes of cotton, fraud and dead fish.
Well, I'm feeling a bit like a Queenslander, so for potentially the final time, I'm Splasher Keddy, and this has been the Water Report.
Now, it may not be immediately apparent to many of our viewers, but we here on The Struggle do truly strive for journalistic integrity and balanced coverage. So, in the interest of some of that balance, we thought it only fair to follow a story about water with a story of plastics. Right off the bat, did you know that since 2017, only 12.5% of Australia's plastic has been recycled? And each year, the world produces 475 megatons. Whether or not you can conceptualise the mass of a megaton, we can all agree, it's too much plastic. Devoid of hope and lost in a global industrial hellscape, only one man can save us from this smelly plastic future. Go, plastic man, go!
Since 2022, meetings in the United Nations have been held to try and organize a treaty to limit plastic production. Each year since, more and more people have been lobbying for change, and last week we were in the final negotiations for this treaty. Environmental ministers from all over the world came together to finalize the agreement. Although apparently Australia's Environmental Minister, Murray Watt, who is pledging to end plastic pollution by 2040 was not on the provisional list of attendees, but I sorted that out. Once it's set in stone, the treaty will ban harmful chemicals in plastic, as well as end the leakage of plastic into the environment, which will be monitored by countries to keep us on track. Hang on, didn't countries do something like this? 2015, 2016? If you're in any way doubtful that this treaty is not a good thing, I'll let my good friends explain.
Toxic chemicals in plastics cause premature disease, disability, and death.
In kids, plastics decrease IQ and injure the reproductive organs, negatively affecting fertility.
And it screws up the liver, which screws up the metabolism of cholesterol, increasing the risk of obesity,
diabetes,
heart disease,
and stroke.
That'll be all.
Plastic Man there refusing to condemn paper straws. But with that, another white-hot week of struggle action flickers and flaps its way to a close. So from the salty shores of Port Phillip Bay to the pointy peak of Mount Bogong, it's good night and good luck. Ah, the struggle. It's real. Yes.
So you come like right close to me, over. You're not part of this. You're not.